the Go Berserk with Email podcast with Navy nuclear engineer turned email software developer, Troy Broussard. So calm.
I'm pissed off, but I'm telling this because I am teaching you how to think differently and how to test differently.
So patient.
And Ben, that's put $500,000 into this company too, is being told that nobody can find the goddamn bug.
So charitable.
I'm going to start paying bounties every time somebody finds a bug. We're going to deduct $10 that week.
So trusting.
Do not assume that anything works. Assume that nothing works.
And so sweet, it makes sugar taste just like salt.
I want to play into the sexiness of marketing automation, but I also want to slap the complexity of it.
The Go Berserk with Email podcast begins now.
Troy, we are back for another one, and I am excited because I have no clue what the broken mug email effect is, but I feel like you're about to tell us, and it's going to make a whole lot of sense.
Well, this one's kind of funny, but it's absolutely true. So you've been to my home, my wife and family, and my wife and I could not possibly be more different. Our entire approach to everything. I am the guy that orders something and I only look at loaded up all the options on it. I just picked up a new car. It's got every option you could get. There's only one of them available in Florida. I waited 6 weeks while they traded to get the one that I want. The guy's like, well, we can get it this way. I said, no. Does that have what I want? No compromise. Get me exactly what I want. And so I waited 6 weeks for the exact model of what I wanted, down to the color, everything, exactly what I wanted. My wife is like, if the car's got 4 wheels and generally doesn't break down, but only occasionally, and, air conditioning would be nice, but not really a necessity. She can roll the window. Like, she is so content, right? She's willing to accept just about anything, which probably, explains why she married me.
Now
Jonathan.
It makes sense.
Now it makes sense, right? I mean, it all kind of comes into focus. So I ordered these beautiful coffee mugs for my trading company, and you get to see them on the screen. Everybody else, you can just visualize. They're gorgeous.
Get me one of those.
Right.
Where's the TikTok shop?
That's right, man. I don't do TikTok, man. No TikTok. I don't do all those social media platforms. Anyway, so I ordered a whole box of them, and it was like 25 of them, and they showed up. And over half of them were broken. Over half of them. I think I got like 12 out of 25 that were usable, and the other 13 were all shattered.
What a mess.
Yeah, and they were expensive, right? I mean, it's not cheap. And they get there and you wait forever for them and everything. And then you get there and it's all broken. So me, right, I just grabbed the whole box of it and throw it out in the trash in the garage. And of course, my wife comes in and says, no, you can't do that. And I said, honey, they're all broke. She said, I don't care. I can glue them together. I said, you're not going to glue these back together, for the love of Christ. I'm not going to give a customer a broken mug. And so we kind of had a little mini argument about it, of which I thought I had won. But Jonathan, we never win.
Happy wife, happy life, brother. Don't you know?
We never win, right? We never win. That's really not in the cards. And any guy that thinks it is, well, you're delusional. So hate to break it to you. So then a few days later, I see all these extra mugs. I'm like, did the other shipment come in already? Did they expedite it or something? She's like, no, those are the ones that I glued back together. So she went and did it anyway, right? And she glued all of these mugs back together. And I didn't give them away to clients. Obviously, they had been broken and all that. But we used them all over the household. And they would leak, so we wouldn't use them for that. But she used them to put pins in. And she used them to put on the bookcases to make kind of decorative, displays in the house, in my office, and all of this stuff, right? And she put them all to work. And I was just blown away, right? I was just blown away because I don't have the patience for that. There was no way on this green earth that I would spend hours gluing together broken cups. I just throw them out and spend $500 and get some new ones, right? And so this broken mug email effect is about, looking at the things that you have already done and repurposing that and being able to reuse and leverage it. So if you write a lot of daily email, and this is the beauty of being a daily emailer, then you have thousands of emails at your disposal to go back. You have a plethora of emails in your database that you can go back to and repurpose. If you sell the same suite of products, you've probably written hundreds of emails selling those products, and you can go back and grab and repurpose and tweak and fix a broken email. And what I mean by that is it's not really broken. It was great at the time you used it, but now things have changed, right? So maybe you wrote an email and it was about an election that was 4 years ago, and the general theme of the email is really reusable, but you had to tweak and fix some of the mistakes now, because now it's not really relevant with the new people running for office, right? So you might have to change it around. So in that regard, it's broken, right? It's not purposely just hit and send and go. You've got to put a little bit of editing effort into it. But this can be a really powerful way to continue to send your emails out, to get that engagement, and to shortcut some of the writing time. One of the things people complain to me about is how much time it takes to write daily email. But after you've done it for a few years, you've got this massive, massive database of emails that you can go back from. And it's so much easier, right? Because you can take an email, you can create a follow-up. I've editorialized my own emails where I take an email and then I quote myself from the prior email and quote a block of text out of the prior one and use it and then talk about it and go deeper with it. So it's like creating an editorial of my own content. People love that stuff, and it's so easy. You can crank out an email in 3 minutes doing some of this stuff, right? And so I like to find creative ways to solve the problem and not avoid the problem. The problem is you got to send an email every day. And that's the challenge. If you want to keep the relationship strong with your list, you've got to be there. You've got to put in the grind. You've got to do the daily relationship. You've got to do that daily email. So the question is really, how can I do it more efficiently? How can I find some ways that help me in this endeavor? And, with Berserker Mail, we've created a lot of tools and ways of making this simpler for you. So, for example, a couple of the tools and features that we have that make this a lot easier. One of them is that you can free text search all of your emails. So that's really cool. So you can just search for the last time you wrote about Trump or the last time you wrote about Biden or whatever, and pull up a series of emails that have that mention, and you can go that way. So full text search works really well. But I've also found what works really well is searching for a link. So you can actually search the text for the links in your email. If you're writing marketing emails, then you damn well better have a buy link in there to buy and sell something. So if they're there, you can just search for the text within the link itself and search for a slug. Like, let's say you have my core campaigns program, for example. Well, then you can search for core and in the URL, not in the free text of the email, but in the link. And then I can see, and it filters it down really instantaneously. And I see like the 300 emails that I've sent on core campaigns that all have the word core in the buy link. And so it's really simple subset. So things like that we've added to it. The other things that we've added that make it really, really simple is the ability to use color-coded categorization on your email database. And this is really powerful for me. I'm a Mac user. I love the Mac. I used to be a Windows user. I even did a bunch of coding and stuff with Windows all the way back to 1.0. I was a developer. I worked on Windows in college. And so, I've used Windows forever. But when they first came out with that first MacBook Air, this is the power of marketing. Man, that first MacBook Air. And it was so thin and so light that do you remember the ad?
I don't remember the ad, but I had one of those MacBooks and they've never been that light again.
You don't remember the ad? The ad was the reason I bought.
I know. Yeah, I know where you're going.
The ad was this inter-office manila envelope, an 8.5 by 11 inter-office envelope that you would pull over and then tie the little string around the button at the top. And that's how you would send inter-office memos and such, right, in corporate. The entire MacBook fit inside of that little envelope. And I saw that ad and I'm like, bullshit. Like I didn't believe it. Right. And so I was using this HP Pavilion notebook and it was so heavy. It was like 5 pounds, just the computer. But then it had a little battery that they tried to save weight on the battery. So it's a little tiny battery. The battery would only last like an hour. And if I was doing anything heavy, it would only last like 40 minutes. And that was it. And so I had to have, I don't know if you ever saw these, but these like double stack batteries that would go at the bottom. It was like in the bottom rear of the notebook. And so when you put it at the bottom, it would act like a little lift to your notebook when you set it down, and it would make kind of prop it up at an angle because it was a double thick battery. They weighed 2.2 pounds a piece.
Wow.
The batteries, just the batteries. And then I could get about 2 hours of battery time. And so I traveled everywhere with 4 batteries for this thing.
Oh,
I had the standard battery that was good for about 40 minutes, and then 3 2.2 pound batteries to get me another hour and a half or so, 2 hours maybe if I was lucky on each one of those. And between the 4 batteries with this piece of crap HP Pavilion, I could get through the course of a day working on my computer, right? So I see this Mac Air, so thin, so light, it fits into, and I say, I gotta get one of these. And so I went to the Apple store and I bought one. And when I went to the Apple store, they literally had the envelopes all over the table.
Nice.
It was the most beautiful thing. Had them all over the table, right? And so I took that thing and I got on a plane on the way home back to Brazil, and I sat down. I was working on a new book, so I started writing, and I got this mess. I get the little alert on the plane, ding ding ding, time to put your tables up and close all of your portable devices and all that, right? Brazil's a 7.5 hour flight, and it didn't dawn at me at the time, so I closed everything up and I put it, and then it kind of hit me like, wait a minute, I was writing that entire time. And I pulled out the MacBook, I looked at it, and the time I had 37% battery left.
Wow.
And that did it for me. Okay, I know I went down a long story on Macs, but that marketing campaign changed my life. And I've never used anything but a Mac ever since, right? That little MacBook Air, I got routinely 10 to 12 hours of battery use on it and would go months without rebooting. And so one of the things that the Apple computers do that's so brilliant is in the Finder, which is kind of like Windows Explorer. In the Finder, where it has all of your folders and files, it has this little circular dot that you can add to any file, and it's a color label. And you can define those labels to mean anything you want. And you can have a green and a yellow and a red and a blue and a whatever. And they can have text labels that you can set up for them. But then you can search and find stuff really easily. So if you are, you could have a different color label, Jonathan, for every one of your clients on your podcast. And, I, of course, would be blue, right? I mean, of course. But so you could just, filter on blue and boom, everything would show up. Well, we do that inside of Berserker Mail as well. We've emulated that motif that the Mac pioneered, and we do colored labels on all of your emails. So if you have a certain product line or a certain coaching program, you can just apply a colored label to them automatically. When the email is sent, you can have it automatically applied based on a saved search. And then when you want to find stuff, you can go back and pull it up by colored label. So that's the tie-in to that long story, but it's a good one. It's a power of marketing, and that changed my life forever from one commercial, right? One commercial. Remember that marketing is not about selling. Marketing done properly makes selling superfluous. There's no need to sell if you know how to market. That commercial sold me. They didn't have to tell me how much it costs. They didn't need to tell me. That demonstration, it made me go into the store. And then they were so brilliant to put the envelopes on the tables in the Apple store so that you could prove it to yourself. That is what marketing is all about. So use the broken mug email effect to go back, take some of your content that you've used in the past, repurpose it, editorialize it, contemporize it, make it current for now, and save yourself a lot of time.
Man, that was a trip down memory lane. I forgot about that ad, but that was it. Seeing that thing fit in there, and I'm like, impossible. And when I got it in my hands, gotta have it. Whatever. I still have that sitting at my office, that little light MacBook Air. I'm using one here, and it ain't as light. But
well, that's because your wife, you see, like my wife sells everything, man. Like that's how the trading account grew. She kept selling everything that I didn't use. I'd go in there. I'm like, where was that? Sold.
Gone. It's in options now.
Exactly.
She knows what's up, man. That was awesome. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, guys and girls, for tuning in. Another Go Berserk with email shows in the camp, but we did not tease next episode. What do you have coming up for us next time?
We are going to file away the hangnails of your business.
That sounds interesting. Can't wait for that. See you guys next time.
To get a free Berserker Mail test drive with no credit card required, go to startmytestdrive.com. From there, you can play around inside the platform without pressure. Load up emails and campaigns to see how simple the interface is, and get comfy with everything before deciding to join. That's startmytestdrive.com.
This is the podcastfactory.com.